Silence of the snakes and ladders being there. Fifth chapter of accounts, subsidiary books. Give this heading in your notebooks. Now, understand the limitation of a journal book. If you remember, we had written that journal is the primary book of accounts. Even subsidiary books are primary books of accounts. Now, primary means first. Question arises, how can two books be the primary books? In the books of accounts, there is no race that there is a tie and the first place is shared by the two people. It's nothing like that. But what is the concept behind how can two books be primary books of accounts? Suppose we take up an example for that. Let us say that on one side we have business run by me, restaurant business run by me, and on the other side we have restaurant business run by Mayur. Now, yes, dear reader, meat is into only South Indian restaurant, only idli, dosas, etc. So, understand the concept first. No noise in between, concentrate. He is supposed into a restaurant business, South Indian only, and very limited transactions. In one day, one customer comes. So, he has very limited transactions, means he will have in 1 month, he will have around 20-25 transactions. In whole year, he will have around 200 to 300 transactions. So we'll keep journal book for that. And it will be around 200 pages like your notebook. In one book, all the year's transactions will be done. But let us say that Mayur de Parathe. Very well running business. Very well running business means every half day he has 25-30 customers. As you normally go 25-30 waiting, you'll find. So every month he has around 200-300 transactions every month, and in the whole year he has 4,000 to 5,000 transactions. Now the limitation of journal book arises. The journal book will be like him only. Very voluminous journal books, like a big dictionary. Okay, Webster's dictionary. Because 5,000, 6,000 transactions in a year. Now the problem is, in that book, if I want to know what are my total purchases, I have to turn 5,000 pages. Every page finding out what is the purchase. If I want to know what is sales, I have to turn 5,000 pages for that. And keeping it is also very inconvenient. A voluminous book, if anyone wants to know the book of only transaction of purchases, he has to carry that big book of 5,000 pages with him. In his case, it's not like that. Hardly 200 transactions the whole year. Small book is only there. So you can keep all the transactions in one book. But in case of Mayur's, that is not possible. Mayur's business, because there are many transactions. So what we do is, the journal book itself, we subdivide into various books, where we record one specific transaction only in one book. Means instead of keeping one book journal, we will keep, let us say, 5 books. One book where we'll write only purchases. And we'll record purchase of potatoes, tomatoes, onions, everything in one book only. One book where we'll record only sales. One book where we'll record only purchase returns. One book where we'll record only sales returns. One book where we'll record all cash, check transactions. So instead of keeping one book of 5,000 pages, we'll keep 7-8 books of 500 pages each. Now it is convenient also to find the things. If you want to see purchases, you have to see only one book of purchases, and all the pages of that will be of purchases only. So these journals, which are subdivided into 7-8 books, are called subsidiary books. So both are primary books of accounts, they are substitutes of each other. Small business will keep only one book, journal book. Big business having many transactions, instead of keeping only one book, that business will keep 7-8 books which are called subsidiary books. For each specific transaction, you keep a different. Is everyone clear with it? So it depends on the nature of your business, but both are primary books of accounts. Both are first books of accounts. The only difference, in a small business, 7-8 books are not required. Otherwise, only 2 book pages will be filled. That's it. So you maintain only one book because you have few transactions, limited transactions. But big businesses having many transactions, the book becomes very difficult to handle. So you divide them into several books which are called subsidiary books. Understood the concept, everyone? Any doubts with this? So who will keep journal book? Means which kind of business will keep journal? Small business having limited transactions, few transactions. And who will keep subsidiary books? Means big businesses having several transactions, large number of transactions will keep subsidiary books. They are substitutes of each other. All agree with this? So write down meaning. For businesses having large number of transactions, comma, journal is subdivided into various books for recording specific transactions. So these are called subsidiary books. These are called subsidiary books. Understood that, everyone? So here, comma, for each specific transaction, separate book is maintained. Understood that, everyone? Now, separate book is maintained. Now we classify the subsidiary books in 4 categories. One is goods related subsidiary books. Second is cash related subsidiary books. Bills related subsidiary books, and other transactions related subsidiary books. So 4 categories of subsidiary books are kept: goods related, cash related, bills related, other transactions related. In goods related, we have 4 subsidiary books. One for recording only purchases, which is called purchase book. As I told you, each book is kept for recording specific transaction. So here we'll record which specific transaction? Only purchase. Sales book for recording only sales. Purchase return book for recording only purchase returns. Sales return book for recording only sales returns. So these are goods related subsidiary books. Cash related subsidiary books, we have simple cash book where only one column is there, that is of cash. We have 2-columnar cash book where 2 columns are maintained of cash or bank. Whose mobile is this? Give it here. In the class it should be switched off only. Why is it on? Pass it on your class. 2-columnar will have 2 columns either of cash and bank Switch it off and give it. Two columnar cash book will have two columns, cash and bank, cash and discount, bank and discount. These alternatives are possible here. Three columnar cash book will have three columns of cash, bank and discount. And in this chapter they have not discussed one more book, but one more book is there which is called petty cash book, which we keep for small transactions of expenses. So four types of cash related books are there. Bills related, we have two types of book, bills receivable book and bills payable book. Okay, we have bills receivable book and bills payable book. And others, we have only one book which is called journal proper. Means whichever transactions are not possible to be recorded in these three categories, everything else we will record in journal proper. This proper journal book only. Date, particulars, LF, debit, credit, same format would be. Okay. This first one, goods related subsidiary books, will study in this chapter. Chapter number 5. So in this chapter we are going to study only these four. This will study in chapter 6. This will study in part 2 of accounts. And this will study in chapter 7. So subsidiary books we are not going to study in one chapter. Subsidiary books we are going to study over 4 different chapters. The name of this chapter is subsidiary book, but here we are going to study only goods related subsidiary books. Okay, rest will study in other chapters. Any confusion so far? Don't know. Who are writing it, sir? There's so much time. 2 more minutes, complete it fast. Someone's badge was found in parking. Yes, now? All of you have written this? Now, we'll see the specimen of purchase book. Listen everyone. It is a very, very simple chapter. I'll be directly taking up with mixed examples, where we have to make all the 4, which also you'll find very simple. And questions where you have to make only purchase book, only sales book, or only purchase and purchase and sales and sales. I'll give it homework. I don't want to waste time on those questions in class. Because all the 4 itself are quite simple to understand. And in exams they'll ask all the 4 only. So I'll not be wasting time on those type of questions. Okay? Now, we will first see the format and specimen of purchase book and explain you what are the changes in sales book and purchase return book and sales return book. It is very simple to understand. In this chapter, you don't require any knowledge of debit and credit. You don't require to remember any principles of debit, what comes in, credit, what goes out. So that's the reason it is the easiest chapter. Page number 110. Page number 110. Understand it properly. At the bottom, do you find the specimen of simple purchase book? All of you? Now, first column is date. Second column, name of, from whom do we purchase the goods? Supplier. So name of supplier. Then whenever you purchase goods, you have the bill, you have the invoice, you have the voucher. Because we are purchasing the goods, goods are coming in, that bill or invoice is called inward invoice number. You'll give the reference of that bill number from which you find that purchase transaction. Earlier also I told you that in the business you don't have ready-made set of transactions. How do we do the recording in the business is from the vouchers. We have the pile of vouchers. Reading the vouchers, we do the recording in books of accounts. So when we purchase the goods, what will be that voucher? Inward invoice number, LF number, and okay, once again, first column, date, name of supplier, inward invoice number, LF number, and now tell me, whom do you sell the goods? So second column will become name of customer. Second column will become name of customer for sales book. Okay, and goods are going out, outward invoice number. Instead of inward invoice number, you will have outward invoice number in sales. Okay. Now purchase return. You purchase goods from supplier, so you'll return goods to supplier only. So in purchase return book, again you will have name of supplier. Now what happens in purchase return? Understand this aspect. It's very simple and important also. When we purchase goods, suppose I purchase goods from Viraj, what journal entry will I pass? If I purchase goods from Viraj, what journal entry I pass? Purchase account debit to Viraj account. Now when I return the goods to Viraj, what journal entry I pass? Viraj account debit to purchase return account. Listen carefully once again. When I purchase goods from Viraj, the journal entry is purchase account debit to Viraj account. When I return goods to Viraj, the journal entry is Viraj account debit to purchase return. When I return goods, Viraj account is debited or credited? Viraj account debit to purchase return. Viraj account is debited. So whenever I return the goods, I send a note to Viraj mentioning first of all the reason why I returned the goods. Suppose I have purchased goods from Viraj of XL size. And they are defective. They have hole in it. So they are defective, so I return the goods to Viraj. Silence. I will send a note to Viraj mentioning the reason. I'll send a note to Viraj mentioning the reason. Why did I return the goods? Because they are defective. And I'll mention that I'm returning the goods and in my books of accounts I've debited your account. Viraj account debit to purchase return. I'll mention in that note that in my books of accounts I have debited your account. It is called debit note. The note which I send to him is called debit note. So like here you have inward invoice number, here you have outward invoice number. Here what will be the proof? Debit note number. That note will contain the reason also why you have returned the goods. And it will contain a statement also that the supplier's account is debited in our books of accounts. So in purchase return book, which voucher is there? Debit note number. Same way, suppose I sold goods to Hemal. So Hemal to sales. Now Hemal is returning the goods. So sales return to Hemal. To Hemal means in my books I am crediting Hemal's account. I'll send a note to her that I have credited your account in my books of accounts. That note will be called credit note. Okay, so purchase book and purchase return book will have name of supplier. From supplier you purchase the goods and to the supplier you return the goods. Sales book and sales return book will have name of customer. Purchase and purchase return book, name of supplier. Sales and sales return book, name of customer. And vouchers are inward invoice number, outward invoice number, debit note number, credit note number. All of you understood the reason of debit note and credit note? I send a note to the supplier that I have debited your account in my books of accounts. So here it is called debit note. I send a note here to the customer. Here I send a note to the supplier that I have debited your account. Here I send a note to the customer that I have credited your account in my books of accounts. That note is called credit. So inward invoice number, outward invoice number, debit note number, credit note number. Drashti, repeat. Which vouchers are there on all the four? All are clear with this? Rest of the columns will remain same. Any confusions? Now, few notes we will write related to all the four subsidiary books, and that we will follow throughout, and that itself is the summary. Nothing more to be remembered. Okay, so write out the heading notes. There are the only notes for the whole chapter. Then we can directly solve the questions. Now, here in the very first notice, we will record only purchase of goods over here. As the heading itself I gave, goods related. So if I purchase furniture, I will not write it here. Purchase of furniture, I may write it in journal proper. If it is purchased on credit, if it is purchased on cash, I will write it in cash book. Purchase of machines, vehicles, sale of machines, vehicles, furniture, all this will not come in purchase book and sales book. In these four books, what will come is only goods. Assets will not come. Yes, if I am a furniture mart owner, then furniture for me is goods. Then I record purchase of furniture in purchase book only. But other than that, furniture for me is an asset. Got it, everyone? So first note, write down only goods transactions will be recorded. First of that is IE, that is assets will not be recorded. Any confusions with the first note? Okay, assets will not be recorded. Second note, only credit transactions will be recorded. Now, only credit transactions will be recorded means cash transactions come in cash related subsidiary books. So, if it is a cash transaction, we'll not write it here. That would go in which book? Yeah. Also, one more thing. If it is a cash transaction, we have paid the money or we have received the money, do we need to remember the supplier's name? Do we need to remember the customer's name? So, we'll not write it here, name of supplier and name of customer, because we have already made the payment or we have already received the money. So, cash transactions go in which book? Cash. Here we'll record only credit transactions. Okay. Third note, partly cash and partly credit transactions will be treated as fully credit transactions and fully credit transactions and recorded with full amount. Okay, partly cash, partly credit transactions will be treated as fully credit transactions and recorded with full amount. What we do is, suppose I purchase goods of 10,000 from Bhakti and paid 6,000 cash to her. It is partly cash, partly credit. What I will do is, first I treat it as a credit transaction, as if I have purchased goods of 10,000 on credit from Bhakti, and I record it in purchase book. Now, how much payment I have made to her? Then I'll make a separate entry, Bhakti to cash, and write it in cash book. First means, instead of passing one entry, purchase account debit 10,000 to Bhakti 4,000 to cash 6,000, I pass two entries. First I treat it as fully credit transaction, purchase to Bhakti 10,000, that I recorded in purchase book. Then the payment made to her for 6,000 rupees, that is Bhakti to cash 6,000, that I recorded in cash book. Is everyone clear with it? So, from this chapter point of view, presently what you have to simply remember is, if there is partly cash, partly credit transaction. You treat it as fully credit transaction and record it with full amount. When we go to the next chapter, we'll see with the part of payment done or receipt done what to do. But in this chapter, you just have to remember that you treat it as fully credit transaction. Is everyone clear with this? So only these three notes you remember throughout the chapter. Rest, trade discounts, knowledge we have done in the last chapter that trade discount we do not record in the books of accounts, but amount is recorded after deducting trade discount. Cash discount ignore in this chapter because we record only credit. Even if partly cash, partly credit, we treat it as so cash discount simply ignore. Whenever cash discount comes, ignore it. Don't take it into consideration. Is everyone clear with it? So let us take up directly the next examples. Page number 137, question number 12. Page 137, question number 12. Look at it. Prepare purchase book, sales book, purchase return book, sales return. Directly I am taking this 12th question where we will make all the four. And that also you'll find simple only. So others single books you can do on your own easily. Okay? Prepare purchase book, sales book, purchase return book, sales return book in the books of PK stores from the following transactions. What you will do is half a page format. Half page purchase book and below purchase book make purchase return. So recording returns will be easy. So half page purchase book, half page purchase return book, half page sales book, half page sales return book. Got it everyone? Half a page formats you will make. And columns we have seen date, name of supplier or customer, inward invoice or outward invoice or voucher number, column, LF number and amount. 5 columns will be. Okay. So question number 12, page number 137. Date, name of supplier, inward invoice number, LF number and amount. PK stores. Purchase book for November 2015. Here date, name of supplier, inward invoice number, LF number, amount. Then purchase return book for November 2015. Here date. Here also in purchase return book what name will come? Name of supplier. You purchase goods from suppliers, you will return also to supplier. But what will be the voucher I discussed in purchase return book? Debit note number. You will send a note about debiting the supplier's account. So debit note number, LF number and amount. Understood this everyone? Then sales book for November 2015. Date. Now sales book we will have name of customer. Okay. Outward invoice number. Who is continuously talking in between? Keep silence. LF number and amount. And sales return book for November 2015. Date. Name of customer. Here you have which note? Credit note number, LF number and amount. So all of you are clear with this? Make it faster, I'll give 2 more minutes then I'll start. Understand it properly everyone. This question, first one, so I'll be completely explaining it to you. From tomorrow next question onwards I'll start asking it to you. Some notes will come regarding the transactions which we shall not record in these books. If we don't record any transaction in the books, we'll write it in the notes. 45 seconds remaining. So in this question, no one will speak anything, just be a little calculators take out. Okay? What I'm explaining, just understand it carefully. It is very, very simple. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1st November. Now complete attention, okay? From tomorrow I'll ask you and Kiran and others be attentive. See that it should not be that when I ask you, after that you start understanding. Be attentive, you'll be able to understand. It's very simple, okay? November 1, purchase goods of 30,000 from Ramanuj at 10% trade discount, bill number 120. Now, name Ramanuj is given means it's a credit transaction. And as we discussed that we will be recording only credit transactions, so that condition is fulfilled. Okay? We have purchased goods, so we will write it in purchase book. Write down the date is 1st November. Name of supplier is Ramanuj account. Name of supplier is Ramanuj account. Can you see bill number 20 is given at the end? So inward invoice number will come 120. And amounts, as we used to do in last chapter, will record it after deducting trade discount. So do it everyone. 30,000 minus 10%. All of you get 27,000. So trade discount is not to be recorded, amount is to be recorded after deducting trade discount. That's it, over. This is how you will record it. Yes, but very, very simple. No debit, no credit. Nothing comes in, goes out, receiver, giver, expense, nothing to analyze. Okay, just remember the 3 notes I made you write in the beginning of the chapter. Look at the next one. Anyone who wants me to explain the 1st November again? Next. Purchase goods of 12,000 from Nirmi at 10% cash discount. Credit period 1 month, bill number 130. Name Nirmi is given means it's a credit transaction. So we'll record it. Underline 10% cash discount and write down ignore. I told you in the beginning itself in this chapter, ignore the cash discount because we record only credit transactions. Now purchase goods from Nirmi, so we will write it in purchase book again. Then date is 4th. Name of supplier is Nirmi account. Inward invoice number is 130. And amount 12,000. There is no trade discount. There is no trade discount, so amount will be full 12,000. Cash discount we ignore. Cash discount is considered only when the money is paid or the money is this. Any confusion in this? Raise your hand who is still writing up till 4th November. All have written it? Now, sold goods of 15,000 to Suresh at 5% trade discount and 3% cash discount under bill number 350. Name Suresh is given means again it's a credit transaction. Now we have sold goods, so we'll write it in sales book. Now we have sold goods, so we will write it in sales book. Write down the date is 6. Name of customer Suresh account. Outward invoice number, bill number is given 350. Underline 3% cash discount, write down ignore. We will consider only 5% trade discount. Okay? Do it 15,000 minus 5%. Do you all get 14,250? Yes. Raise your hand who is not able to get. All are clear with this? Next. Who is still writing up till 6? Now, any confusion with the 6th transaction? Purchase goods of 10,000, cash memo number 58. Is any name given? Means it's a cash transaction. But we have to record only credit transactions. Cash transactions will go in cash book. Cash transactions will be recorded in cash book, so they are not recorded here. Anyway, if you try to record, you cannot record. Because if you write the date 11, then name of supplier, what you cannot write ... account. Name of supplier is not given only. So even if you try to record, you will not be able to record. Okay? So write down in the notes, following transactions will not be recorded following transactions will not be recorded in the above subsidiary books. Okay? date 11/11/15, cash purchases will be recorded in cash book. So we write the reason in the notes why we are not recording it here, because cash purchases will be recorded in cash book. Understood this, everyone? Any confusions in this? All have written up till 11. Now look at 15. Suresh returned goods of 3,000, credit note number 26. Full stop. In any books, if it's to Manoj, then cancel that. It's old books misprinting. If to Manoj word is appearing, then cancel that. There is in old books, in new books, it won't be there as such. Okay? Now, be a reader. Suresh returned the goods. We sold the goods to Suresh. Suresh returned the goods, so it will come in sales return. Sales return book, return date is 15. Name of customer Suresh, account. Credit note number 20. Amount 3,000. Directly the amount is given, so 3,000. As such, problem is not with sales return. Problem is with sales return and purchase return simultaneously. Then we have to eliminate the profit and record it. That is the only important point in this chapter as well as in journal. When you purchase goods from A sell to B, 100% B is going to return, which we have to return to A. When we return to A, then workings of cost price are to be done. That is the only important thing. Okay? Is everyone clear with this Suresh account? Next. By the way, no one has scored full 30 so far in your class. 40% of goods returned to Nirmi and debit note number 17 sent. Now be a reader. 40% of goods returned to Nirmi. We purchase goods from Nirmi. So return to Nirmi will come in purchase it. And here you can see amount is 12,000. So do 12,000 into 40%. 4,800. Also do 12,000 into 40%, we get 4,800. So that will record in purchase. That will record in purchase return. Okay. That of the date is 17th November. Name of supplier Nirmi account. Debit note number 17. And in bracket show the calculation 12,000 into 40%, 4,800. Okay, this 12,000, 40%, 4,800. Always take the amounts from the solution, don't take it from the question. Last chapter also I told you. Here there was no trade discount, but if trade discount was there, then you would have done like 10% trade discount, then you would have done 10,800 into 40%. Always take the amounts from the solution, not from the question. All are clear up till here? Now purchase and then furniture. First note I made it, I will record only goods. So this will not be recorded. It will come in journal proper. Because it's credit purchase of furniture, it will come in journal proper. So in the notes right now, 19/11/15. Purchase of furniture will be recorded in journal proper. Any confusions in this? Okay, will not record this. Next. And if it was cash purchase of furniture, we would have recorded in cash book. But it would not come in purchase book. Purchase goods of 90,000 from auntie. And half of the amount paid immediately. And then half of the amount paid immediately. Let us ignore. We discussed that partly cash, partly credit transactions we will treat as fully credit transactions and recorded with full amount. Half amount we have paid in cash, ignore. We have to record it with full amount. Understood that, everyone? Now we have purchased goods from aunties, so we will write it in purchase book. So in purchase book, the date is 20. Name of supplier, auntie account. Yes, what happened? Yes. Next. Bill number 360 will come in inward invoice number. And trade discount is not there, so directly will record 90,000 full amount. Silence everyone. In 20, is there any trade discount? So it will record full amount, that's it. 21 when we record will cancel. Oh. 100% I'm right. So, aunty account with 90,000. Did everyone understand this? Next. Now, yes, told. Listen, don't worry. Tomorrow I'm going to ask you the things and solve it on the board. Question, transaction 21 now. All the goods purchased from aunty sold to Bala for 1,08,000. Credit is 1 month and trade discount is 10%. Bill number is 360. Now first of all underline all the goods purchased from aunty and write down. See here, we purchased goods from aunty for 90,000. So write down CP 90,000. Cost price 90,000. If you remember, even in journal transactions we did this. And now 100% sure, auntie's goods sold to Bala, so Bala is going to return, which we will return to auntie. And the problem is when we return to auntie, we have to return at cost price. So always whenever such a transaction comes, note down the cost price. Here all goods are sold. So what is the cost price of those goods? 90,000. And we are selling it for 1,08,000 minus 10% trade discount. Got it everyone? Now selling it to Bala, so it will come in sales book. Write down the date is 21. Name of customer Bala account. Outward invoice number 360. And do it 1,08,000. All of you do it 1,08,000 minus 10%. Do you get 97,200? Any confusions in this? Now see, as I told you, Bala returned half of the goods which was sent to auntie. Always you learn like this. If you purchase goods from A, sell it to B, 100% B will return. And we will return it to A. Here, Bala returned the goods will come in sales return. And we returned it to auntie will come in purchase returns. Okay. But Bala has returned half of the goods. So workings are actually not required. Because when Bala has returned half of the goods, we'll take half of 97,200. But when we return to auntie, we will take half of 90,000. So here that confusion of amount will not error with us. So Bala returned half the goods, we'll take it here. The date is 23rd. Sales return book Bala account. And 97,200 half 48,600. Credit note number is not given. And same we have sent to auntie. So we will take here 23rd auntie account. Again we will take half of 90,000. That is 45,000. No debit note number. Understood this everyone? Okay, when we return to auntie, we will take half of 90,000, that is 45,000. But suppose we would have done that equation also, like we did in the last chapter, if you remember. Then, when selling price was 97,200 in the previous transaction, what was its cost price I made you right? 90,000. So if Bala has returned goods of 48,600, then what would be its cost price? How would you solve this equation? 48,600 into 90,000 upon 97,200. Check it, does it come to 45,000 itself or not? Yes. But here we can do it very simple manner, 90,000. When would this working become compulsory? When the property when amount is directly given. Here half is given, so you can do half of 97 and half of 90. But if it was given Bala returned goods of 30,000, directly amount. Bala returned goods of, so here we would take 30. But here we cannot take 30 because 30,000 includes profit. Now 30,000 is what percentage of 97,200 we don't know. then this working is compulsory. Then 97,200 cost is 90,000, so 30,000 what would be the cost? That only we can record over here. So when does this working become compulsory? When the amount is directly given. Here half is given, so you can do it directly, otherwise this working would become compulsory. So write this working also at the top of your page. You should understand this working also, because when would this be necessary and compulsory? In case if amount is directly, then you cannot do it directly from the question. So it would be necessary if amount of sales return is directly given. Like if you remember last chapter, it was like that only in the journal, where 540 of goods were returned by the person, Nirali or XYZ, whatever it was, and then we found that 500 of cost price. So these workings become compulsory when amount is directly, remember that, okay? Here we can do it half because half is given, otherwise this working would be compulsory. Any confusions in these workings also? All are clear with this? Next, Bala returned, so there is the current placed an order. So order is non-economic. Read on in the notes itself. 24th November 2015. Non-economic transaction. Okay, 24th November is non-economic transaction. 25th now, Karan placed an order of 30,000 at 10% discount. Now there is a good sent to Karan as per the order and 500 added for carriage under bill number 365. Now we are sending goods to Karan, means we are purchasing or selling? So it will come in sales book. Head on in sales book. The date is 25. Name of customer is Karan account. Now in bracket we will have to show the calculation, because carriage is also to be added. First of all, see the previous transaction. Karan ordered goods of 30,000 and at 10% trade discount. So do 30,000 minus 10%. In bracket write 27,000 is the value of goods plus. How much is carriage? 500 of carriage. So total amount will become 27,500. Okay, how did we get 27,000? 30,000 minus 10% trade discount plus carriage of 500 we have added. So 27,500. And bill number is 365. Understood this, everyone? Now, cash purchase 16,000, cash sales will come in cash book. So in the notes 26, 11, 15. Cash purchases and cash sales will be recorded in cash book. Understood that, everyone? Any confusion so far? Now 27. To return goods to Sweetie, which was of rupees 10,000, which was purchased in October. So it is purchase return or sales return? Purchase return. We are returning back to Sweetie, which we purchased in last month October, and sent debit note number 20. So in purchase return book, write down date is 27. Name of supplier Sweetie account. Debit note number 20. And amount is 10,000 directly given. Did all of you understand this? And the last one. Karan returned half of the goods. See here, we sold goods to Karan of what value? 27,000. Whenever there is a return, don't include expense unless it is mentioned. Like here it is mentioned, and proportionate amount of carriage was given credit. So we will do half of 500 also. If this sentence was not given, proportionate amount of carriage was given credit, then we will do simply half of 27,000. So you always do half of the goods value only, because practically think, if I am selling goods to someone, to tempo wala I have paid 500 rupees. If the person returns the goods, is tempo wala going to refund me the money? He has already carried the goods, so he is not going to refund me the money. So even if the person returns the goods to me, I generally won't refund him the amount of carriage. That expense then he has to pay. But here it is given proportionate amount of credit was given, so you'll do half of 500. If it is not given, then you'll do simply half of 27,000. Okay, so in sales return, date is 30, name of customer is current account. First of all, half of 27,000, that is 13,500, plus half of 500 carriage, that is 250. So 13,750. Debit note number is not given. Credit note number is not given. So all are recorded. Is it very simple or not?
Yes, sir.
Only purchase returns you will be careful. That's it. See, so therefore I have taken direct image example. Now only purchase book to be made. Can you do it on your own or not?
Yeah.
Only sales book, only purchase and purchase return, sales and sales return. They are very, very simple ones. Okay. Totals we have to do now. Like here, 90, 102, 130, 129, 1,29,000 total credit purchases. Here 45, 55, 59, 800. Total credit purchase returns. 91, 120, 127, 134, 138, 138, 950. 138,950 total credit sales. 48, 61, 64, 65, 350. Total credit sales return. Is everyone okay with this? Any confusions? So it's a very simple and scoring chapter. Homeworks, note it down. Yes, that is to be done, ledger and posting, plus this also. Because, shut up, let off. Illustrations 147. Exercise 1. Note it down. Exercise 4, not 1. Exercise 4, then 7. And 10 and 11. First of all, this is equal to only 3 such questions, not so many. Reason? This is only purchase book. This is only sales book. This is only purchase book. This is only sales book. So, these 4 questions are equal to this 1 question. This is purchase and purchase return book only. This is sales and sales return book only. So, these are equal to 1 question. Plus this is 1 full question. So these are actually 3 questions only. Okay? Bye everyone.